Welcome back to another gameplay. This one is with Rashmi, Eternity's Crafter. I'm playing against the 007 Eric, playing Ezuri, Renegade Leader, which is a typical elf ball commander deck, and it basically plays lots of 1 and 2 mana elves that generate tons of mana, and eventually he activates the overrun ability, generally to swing for lethal. You've all seen my Rashmi deck. I've been tweaking a little bit. I've also gone through my videos and updated deck lists. I have Yisan updated all the way through. All the videos now have Yisan deck lists and descriptions. Sidisi Brood Tyrant and Vendilion Click deck lists are all done. They're all on my tapped out profile. Same username as on here. I haven't done the Rashmi one yet, but that's because I'm not settled on the 99 for Rashmi as of right now. I might get around to making like a rough one. So, I have a very keepable hand. My opponent wins the die roll. They keep their 7, go with turn 1 Jiraga Tree Speaker, which is basically green's slightly fairer souling that you have to spend 3 mana over 2 turns to get. I'm going to keep this. I have double blue potentially if I top deck Mana Drain. I have Frantic Search. I have an extra turn spell, Brainstorm to dig me a little bit. This is definitely a keep. So, I'm going to jump through the turns a little quick. My opponent levels up, plays a Well-Wisher, gain 1 life for each elf. I'm going to represent double blue. My opponent goes with Ezuri and levels up Jiraga again, clearly trying to get up to 5 counters, which it gives all of the elves he controls the ability to tap for green-green. So that's fine. I think for a sec, I'm going to brainstorm right now because I have a shuffle effect that I can use. I'm going to put back both of my extra turns, I believe. And then I'm going to Mystical Tutor for Mystic Confluence. And my choice with this is I want to get something that I can use to tempo him out at some point by counter bounce in response to like a big activation on Ezuri. I can reset the counters on the Jiraga, or I can use the draw. So Confluence just gives me the best modes, and I needed the shuffle there, basically. So now I guarantee that I have Frantic Search if I want it. My opponent goes with Nissa Ravane and ticks up to go get Nissa's Chosen, a 2-3. Pretty cool. This is typically the type of deck that you'll ever see Nissa Ravane from Zendikar in, is because she doesn't play well in other versions because her secondary +1 ability, you gain 2 life for each elf you control, isn't good in non-elf strategies, and her -7 search your library, find a number of elf creature cards, and put them on a battlefield, then shuffle the library, isn't good in non-elf strategies. That said, in Elf Ball, she's incredible because she just starts gaining life. She keeps getting Nissa's Chosen, and Nissa's Chosen blocks, chumps, and then can plus back up to get her again if it dies, because it keeps going to the bottom of the library. So she's good here, and I absolutely cannot let Nissa ultimate because I will lose the game that turn, I have no doubt. So my opponent gets in with Ezuri and levels up again and gains some life. So I think they're doing this just so they can F8 as well, which is fine with me. So I'm going to run Rashmi out. I just need to get the value. It does count for Well-Wisher because I am an elf, so they will get an extra life. Not that it matters to me. Fenhorn Elves activates Nissa. So now I know that no more elves are coming because Nissa's already been activated. Level up and taps Ezuri to get Nissa Vastwood Seer into play. Goes and gets a Forest, doesn't play it yet because they've played their land, and doesn't rumble. They have the Well-Wisher untapped though. So I pick up QR, so that's going to be pretty useful. I go with Frantic Search because it's a free spell and I have a bunch of lands in my hand. I don't need all of them. I get a free land off the Rashmi trigger, and I see the Temporal Manipulation again. Well, that's pretty useful, so I'm going to pitch the Artifact land because it's a green deck. No sense in turning their naturalized effects into Stone Rains because I have this island anyway. And I don't need another forest because I have 3 green sources, which is more than I'll need for the rest of the game. At least hit my colors. I'm going to untap my lands, play that, and I do not go for the Temporal Manipulation. Because right now my plan is to try to bait a pump attack that doesn't kill me, use the Mystic Confluence to bounce blockers, Rashmi into Nissa, and then Temporal Manipulation, take an extra turn, and then Rashmi into Nissa again. Is my current plan, just to get her down some. Boreal Druid, gain some more life. He's at 78 life between Well-Wisher and Nissa's, gaining him a lot. And it's not relevant to me, because by the time I've taken over control of the game, he can be at any life total. Which is one of the nice things about playing control is I can almost disregard this in most decks. If I'm afraid of Aetherflux Reservoir, I have to care about life, but with that exception, their life total, my control player's life total doesn't matter. Because I'll win the game whether they're at 100 life or 1 life. So, I think for a sec, I tap my mana, I decide against it, I'm going to take the damage, it doesn't kill me, it puts me from down to 20. And during end step, I'm going to triple bounce. And I'm bouncing Fendhorn, Boreal, and Droga Tree Speaker. And I'm doing it for the reason of being able to attack reset the counters, so severely handicap his mana. All of a sudden, all of these creatures don't tap for green, and remove both of the blockers. I would have liked to bounce Ezuri because it's the most mana-intensive elf here, and it has no good ETB effect. But he did have the second untapped creature, so I gotta hit the things. And I get a Birds of Paradise for free off of it. Doesn't that feel good? So we get to ramp a little bit, and actually this Birds turns out to be relevant right here. So I get Crash Nissa down. I think for a sec, realize I have just enough to do it, play the Simic Growth Chamber, bounce back one of my tap lands. Now I'm going to play Kiora Master of Depth, get an island off of it, untap the Simic Growth Chamber and the Birds, and I have exactly enough to take an extra turn as well. So that Growth Chamber is actually a pretty decent top deck there. So I get an extra turn, I pick up Forbid, and I'm going to Deep Analysis myself, draw a Capture of Jingzhao off the Rashmi trigger, and I'm going to draw Garruk and Mana Vault. Wow, what a draw. I get to crash in with Nissa, with Rashmi into Nissa, down to 1, make some mana, and I believe okay. So I put Garruk down, because Garruk effectively cost me 1 mana with Simic Growth Chamber and other lands in play, because he untaps 2 and produces 3 but costs 4. So I have exactly enough to play Garruk, and then, and then I can play the Vault as well. Play Capture, but I decide not to play Vault just because it's an extra spell that I can get off Rashmi. I don't really need the 1 mana. I'd rather, let's say this was a land, that I drew a land here. I wouldn't have a single spell for this turn to get value off Rashmi. So I'm keeping this Mana Vault because if I hold on to it and give up that 1 mana that I would get this turn, I get a draw instead. And I'm basically paying that 1 to draw a card off Rashmi instead, which I'm very happy to do. But I pick up Gush, which is even better, and I love this art. I would like it if they printed this as a promo art for Paper Magic. It would be absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to get in, kill Nissa, float some blue, Gush, hitting a Simic Signet, so I even get to ramp a little bit. So I get to Gush for the cost of no mana loss, just my land drop loss for the turn. I Pongify Ezuri because it can't regenerate itself. And run the Mana Vault out, run the Nature's Lure out, get a Breeding Pool, tick up Kiora, get some blockers going, and I ticked Garruk down to make the Beast so they can bounce off each other. And right now my plan is, I'm assuming everything is going to come in to try to kill one of my walkers. These bounce and trade. Ezuri costs 5, so there's no way. I know he's got the 3 1-drop elves, all of which are dorks in his hand, so not spending the mana playing them. So it sort of forces him into the red zone. I can use Beast to kill Nissa's Chosen, or Nissa Vastwood Seer, if it comes in. I can block. So if he plays land, he'll accidentally flip Vastwood Seer, because it's a non-optional trigger. And then I'm in beautiful shape because I have bounce, block. Either my planeswalkers take 1, or I can chump the Well-Wisher with my bird if I really want to. Or I could block and kill, bounce the here, which I probably want to get the ape off the board because it's the highest power, and honestly I can make more beasts. So block, kill, bounce off each other, chump Well-Wisher, or block here, chump Nissa's Chosen. I could either bounce and lose my bird, or lose Well-Wisher, lose bird. So yeah, that'd be the better play. Here, 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 and none of my planeswalkers take any damage this turn, because right now I'm trying to get to Kiora Master of Depths, because at the beginning, whenever a creature enters the battlefield under my control, I get to fight target creature, and then I get to make 3 octopi, which will do a pretty good job of closing out 78 life, especially with Garrick's ability for over on the following turn. My opponent plays land, realizes he just flipped Nissa, lost his attacker, draws a card off Nissa. No, does he draw it? Yeah, draws a Jagged Scar Archers off Nissa, realizes the game is going to be well and truly over, hasn't even seen the Forbid in my hand yet, but doesn't need to, because I would Forbid and buy back anything devastating this turn, or Ezuri if they went for Ezuri this turn, because it would have been 5 of their mana, leaving them only 2 lands left. So, this is a nice and quick gameplay. Really wanted to showcase this interaction with Kiora and my bounce land, and just having that bird. I've been enjoying having some of the planeswalkers in this deck because it is a control shell, and they just give you a little bit of extra value every turn, especially in situations like this where I'm not going to have a spell every single turn if I continue to hit lands like I have been. But it gives you additional sources of card advantage that your opponents necessarily have to answer, or if they don't answer, are going to win you the game on their own. Garrick probably would have been going down on my following turn also. I drew some cards. I think I was getting Eternal Witness or something coming up soon, so I was going to have Eternal Witness, get back Temporal Mastery, or Gush. I probably would have gotten back Gush actually, because it draws more than Temporal Mastery does. Hope you guys enjoy the gameplay. Let me know in the comments down below if you saw any misplays. I think I played this one pretty tight, but I enjoyed it all the same against one of the better mono green commanders, probably tier 3rd best, I would say. I think Yisan easily takes the cake, followed by maybe mono green Omnet, or nah, Ezuri's probably 4th best, because it'd be Yisan, and then probably the new Selvala, along tied with Vastwood Seer, and then Ezuri, because I think Ezuri is slightly better than mono green Omnath. Overall, mono green is a fun archetype. I mean, you can see by my channel that I love playing Yisan, but that's a very different build than Ezuri. I'll see you all in the next one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video to anyone think you might enjoy it. And I will hope, and if you have any comments, let me know. And I'll try to get the deck tech. That's what I was going towards. Sorry. Brain scattered for a moment. I'll try to get the deck tech for Rashmi done as soon as possible. But I'm still tweaking the list a little bit. Like, I've added the Kioras, Garrick. So, I'll see you on the next one all the same.